welcome back to my YouTube channel. So thank you for joining me for another one of my videos. So today's video is a bit different. It's obviously going to be on a topic which I hope can help so many of you who are going through the same situation as I was a year ago. This video has been so requested numerous times, and it's kind of odd about the timing of this video because I had it scheduled in for April, May time, and when I came to film it and looked at my schedule and thought, oh, I'm gonna have to film this video, I didn't want to film it because, not that I wasn't over the situation, but I think just because I wanted to be in a really happy place and I wanted to almost be in a relationship to talk about it so I could be happy, be fully out of that situation. So not being bitter and not, you know, talking about it from a completely different mindset. So I scheduled this video in for the 7th of July and I'm filming this a couple of days before. And in my mind, when I wrote down, obviously, to put it in July, it was the next available slot, so it was like 2 months ago, and I thought like, oh god, I really hope I'm in a relationship by that point because, you know, otherwise I'm gonna have to reschedule it. And then when I saw it in my diary this week, I was like, oh my god, how weird, I actually am. So yeah, it definitely feels like the right time to film this now, and yeah, I think my mindset is totally different, so I'm really glad in a way that I didn't film it before because I want it to be as positive and helpful for you guys as possible without like bringing my own emotion into it. So how to get over a breakup? Oh god, like I who knows where to start, literally. So for me, my first ex, the guy who left me in debt, was so easy to get over because I'd already met someone else, and for me the first guy like wasn't a soulmate, so it was just so easy. Like there wasn't connection there wasn't love, there wasn't anything. So walking away from that was probably the easiest thing I've ever had to do. The second guy, not easy because he was a karmic soulmate and there was that connection, and I'd planned my whole life with this guy. You know, I'd spent 2 years, I wasn't happy. Like, I can't say 2 years blissfully happy. Like, it was horrid. Like, that relationship was toxic. But I'd planned my life. And because of that connection, which I didn't understand at that time, I kind of just thought, well, this has to be it, right? You know, there's that connection, there's that feeling, there's that, you know, kind of weird recognition you get with soulmates, that why would this not be my forever person? And it was really hard to kind of understand that. And you know, I'd been to psychics throughout that relationship and never once did they say that I would marry this guy or, you know, be with this guy forever. You know, they said we'd live together, which turned out to be true. Then suddenly, you know, at that stage of my life, I was so ridden with anxiety and like depression. Like I was completely a different person, completely. And to rely on someone as much as I did, not financially, like I financially footed a lot in that relationship. And, you know, to have, I guess, emotional and I wouldn't even say it was emotional, like I relied on him because he didn't give me any of that. It was kind of just like he was there and I knew nothing else. So therefore, why on earth would I want to break up with that and have nothing and like, you know, lose everything? And, you know, it never ever would have worked. And now I look back, that relationship never ever would have worked out, ever. I was so different. I knew what I wanted to do in life and he never would have fulfilled me. He never would have, like, our paths were so different, our lives were so different, our mentalities were so different. We couldn't have been more polar opposites if you tried. And I never saw that. I never saw that at the time because I just didn't want to see it. And, you know, I kind of just believed that that was all I deserved and that I just would have to settle for shit, basically. And, you know, when we broke up, it was horrible. It was, you know, I had hit rock bottom at that point. He had taken absolutely everything from me, emotionally, financially. I was just nothing, an empty shell. And, you know, breakups can happen in all types of ways. You know, it can be easy, it can be hard, it can be painful, it can, you know, if you've got kids involved, marriage, you know, I can't just say there's a magical fix to just stop hurting. There bloody isn't. And for me, it literally felt like I'd lost everything, absolutely everything. And I was just an empty shell, and it hurt. It hurt so much. And it was, to be honest, I surprised myself with how easy I picked myself back up, you know, in the first couple of weeks, because I was blissfully unaware for 4 months about the other woman, and he'd obviously like left his stuff in my flat. So I was blissfully unaware of this for 4 months, and he was still leading me on. So I was kind of in this like non-acceptance stage of, yeah, we've broken up, yeah, it's shit, but we're probably gonna get back together. And I think the worst thing I did was convince myself that we were gonna get back together. But now I look back, it had to happen like that, and it was just hard. It was hard to get myself out of bed every day, work, be happy. Like, I didn't tell a lot of people for ages that we'd split up because I just didn't want to, and I couldn't accept it in myself. And I think looking back, I really should have just accepted it for what it was and just been like, I'm not happy, and you know what? Being without him is actually really easy, and it shouldn't feel like that if it's meant to be. And, you know, I think you just have to really give yourself a wake-up call and just be like, there's a reason why we broke up, and really take accountability for your actions. That was one thing that I obviously learned when I started Law of Attraction was, you know, we broke up because of both of us. I withdrew my love a year before we split up, and you know, that wasn't a nice thing to do, and it probably hurt him quite a lot. So I take accountability for withdrawing my love from that relationship and for switching off. But equally, there was a lot of reasons why I withdrew my love and why I was hurting and why I couldn't be in that relationship anymore. And you know, I obviously found out the truth 4 months later, which hurt. So for 4 months, I was convinced that I was going to get back with him. And, you know, when I started Law of Attraction, I started seeing all these signs, and like just things about him would just keep popping up. And I find it really hard to explain this to people because sometimes it doesn't mean good things when you see signs. And I always remember like a week or something before like something bad would happen with him, I would see signs, I would hear his name, I would see his car, I would see things like that. And yeah, it wouldn't mean something good. It meant good things in the grand scheme of things, but obviously at that time it didn't mean good things. So I would definitely say, don't try and manifest them back, for God's sake. I tried that as well, and that really didn't work. It just made me really upset and really frustrated that nothing was happening. And you know, I don't want to say, because like people do get back together all the time, like that's what I want to say. Like I met a friend who lives in America who does Law of Attraction and she was trying to manifest her ex back at the same time as me, and then I thought, this is ridiculous, why are we doing this? But she actually got back with her ex. So you know, there's success stories, but what I really want to tell you is don't focus on it having to be your ex. Don't manifest your ex back. Manifest what you want, whether it's you know, your soulmate, just a boyfriend, whatever it is, focus on that, and no matter what is meant to happen, you will get that. Because you know, I blocked myself for 4 months by trying to manifest something which was never ever meant for me. And you know, I could have opened myself up to so much more and maybe quicker if I had have actually realized that I didn't want that and that wasn't for me. And it's funny, I actually went to my psychic a couple of months after we split up, and she did say to me, she was like, but this is exactly how it's had to happen. She was like, you have had to go through wanting him back to learn these lessons. And she said, you know, so don't beat yourself up that you've been trying to manifest him back. Like, it is just how it's had to happen. And you know, that's also what I want to stress. No matter what you do, no matter what you say, no matter what you attempt to do, if it's not meant to be, it just will not be, ever. And if it's meant to be, it will always be. There is nothing you can do to change the course of fate or what the universe has planned for you. And especially when it comes to like people you're meant to be with, like relationships, soulmates, whatever, you just can't change that. Like, it is written in the stars already. Like, you can't change it. And really accepting that is what will set you free from the hurt and the pain, and from just feeling helpless. And it is hard, and you do need to feel those emotions. Like in the first couple of weeks or the first month, I would say, you will feel shit, you will feel hurt, you will feel upset, you will cry, you will want to eat tons of ice cream, and all of that is fine. Like, you need to feel all of it, and because you become stronger. If you didn't feel pain, you wouldn't become stronger. And if I hadn't have literally had my life ripped apart and torn apart and broken and stabbed a million times with his dagger, I wouldn't be who I am today. So, you know, it hurts. My situation hurt more than anything, and it's probably one of the darkest things and the hardest things I've ever had to come out of by myself as well. But it was the best thing to ever happen to me. And I always remember my mum telling me in the beginning, and this always used to annoy me when she said it, she'd be like, in 6 months time, none of this will even matter to you. And I was like, Mum, like, you're not understanding. Like, I freaking love this guy. Like, you know, you're not understanding what's happening here. Like, I'm hurting and you're just telling me it's all gonna be fine. Like, and you always feel that they're being patronizing when they're saying it, but it's because they're out of that situation. And if I could sit in front of myself a year ago and say exactly the same thing, I would, because it was true. 6 months later on, none of what I was worrying about did matter. And then 12 months on, absolutely none of what I felt or none of the situations I was going through mattered. I didn't hurt anymore. I'd forgiven. So really, she was right. And that's what I want to stress to you. Like, people will obviously try and tell you that it's all going to be okay, and like, you'll meet someone else and there's plenty more fish in the sea and you're going to be happy, and you will be happy. Of course you will always be happy. And you just need to remember that the universe is working for your favor. It's got your back. It's bringing to you something even better, whether it's your ex back and things work out magically and it's even better than last time, or a brand new person who's going to be 10 million times better than the last person. So no matter what, you are going to be happy. You're going to have exactly what you want, and it's good to set clear intentions. So what I did to really kind of occupy my mind, and help get over this horrible time in my life of just pain and suffering, was to take myself out of victim mode. So take control of my life, take ownership, and forgive. So I forgave him for everything he did for me, for the cheating, for the lying, for everything. And that is something massive for me, because I never used to forgive anybody. I used to hold grudges. I never used to be forgiving at all. So for me to actually forgive what I would deem as unforgivable is crazy, but it set me so free. And I always say this to people when I do my life coaching or anything, like, you have to give thanks to your exes. And hell, I do every single day, because not only have they created my incredible life I live today, they have made me the person I am. They've made me happy. They've made me literally be living the life of my dreams. So why on earth would I not be thanking them? So thank you for all the hurt, all the pain, all the lies, because my life is fantastic now. And that is exactly how you should look at it as well. That, you know, what they did was shit. Yes, it hurt you, and you know, I don't want to take that pain away from you. It hurts and you need to feel it, but you are in control of your life. You're in control of what happens to you, what you tolerate, what you put up with, and it's all going to work out for the best. So really, there's no negatives in this. Another thing I did was get fit and get healthy. Now, I'm not saying like you have to do this, obviously, but you know, I think I was definitely guilty of this. I didn't really like make an effort with my appearance or anything towards the end, and I was really overweight for what I wanted. So I decided that I wanted to get fit and get healthy. So I started eating better. I started doing my yoga every day. Now I do my running. And to be honest, it was the best thing I did, because exercise just focuses your mind. It gives you such a good mindset, especially with yoga. And it was just a distraction. And I think for the first month or so, distraction techniques were exactly what I needed. So I just distracted myself with work, with friends. I'd go out and have a good time. I would distract myself with everything possible. Reading, law of attraction, everything was a distraction, or like a coping mechanism to not think about the horrible situation I'm going through. And that works. Like, do it. If that works for you, freaking do it. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and say that's a bad thing to do. It's really not. If you want to eat cake as a coping mechanism, freaking do it. If you want to go for a run, do it. Like, there's no right or wrong answer. You will just know what you want to do, and some days you will feel better and some days you will feel worse, but each day gets easier. And that's always how I used to look at it. Like, with each day it's gonna get easier, it's gonna hurt less, and it's a one day closer to being happy and fulfilled and being over the whole situation. So obviously I then found the law of attraction and positivity, and that was probably the best thing I could have done, because it taught me how to get out of victim mode, be positive, see the situation for exactly how it was, see the truth of the situation, take ownership, forgive and release myself from that horrible stage in my life. And I think people were quite surprised about how quickly I kind of went from rock bottom to rebuilding my life, reshaping my life, and becoming the person I always knew I was meant to be. And I can't tell you how amazing it felt to actually be living a legitimate life. I'm not saying that I wasn't legit before, but I definitely wasn't being true to myself about what I wanted in life, what I would tolerate, accept and settle for. And you know, I upped my standards, and that is always what I hear Tony Robbins say. You need to up your standards, because you get what you ask for. And if you're asking for shit, you're gonna get shit. If you're asking for frickin' amazing stuff, you're gonna get the frickin' amazing stuff. So I just thought, right, I'm not settling for any less now. Like, I wrote my dream man list. I was like, this is what I want. I'm gonna find my dream man. There's gonna be nothing, like, I'm literally not gonna stop for anything less. I'm not gonna settle. I'm not gonna get with anybody until I know it is my dream man. And I'm starting to use the word dream man instead of the H word, because I realize now I'm in that situation that the H word may be a little bit intimidating. So I say dream man, but I just literally upped my game. And you know, I upped my game with my work, I upped my game in every single aspect of my life. In my friendship groups, I only settled for people who made me happy, who added value to my life, who brought such positivity and made me feel awesome around them. If they didn't make me feel that way, they were gone. And you kind of feel a bit harsh, you feel really harsh and really, you know, I don't know, it felt so uncomfortable doing that, because I was such a yes person, I was such a giver, I gave my all to such horrible negative people for so long. And you kind of then think, is this like egotistical, or really like up myself to now be so particular in my life? But you literally can't do anything else. Like, you have one shot at life. Bloody be selfish about it. Like, be selfish about who you let into your life, because they are affecting your life. And if they're like an energy vampire, they are detracting from your life, they're not adding value to your life. So you always have to be careful about who you let in, who's in your circles, and who is, you know, who you're spending your time with, your precious time. So one sign I want to talk about in particular was white butterflies. So I haven't actually spoken about this on my channel, but I feel that I kind of need to like put this in as a situation. So last year when I became single, literally probably the day after, I started seeing white butterflies everywhere. And I actually don't even like butterflies. Like, I mean, I like them, I think they're cute, but I was never a butterfly person ever. And like, I always used to see people with butterfly tattoos, and I was like, oh God, that's like so common. Like, why would you have that? And now, yeah, I've got one. So I always used to like just be really like, yeah, they're cute, but they're really common sort of thing. And that sounds so bad. And I just never really liked them particularly. So when I started seeing them, I was like, this is really weird, because it was something I'd like never seen before. I'd never ever noticed butterflies before, and all of a sudden they were like stalking me. And a couple of weeks passed and they were just bloody everywhere, and I couldn't understand. And like, I would ask the universe for signs, and then more butterflies would appear. So at that stage in my life, I associated them to my ex and thought, maybe this is a sign that he's gonna come back. I don't know, like this is really, really weird, because I didn't physically understand anything. So for ages, my friends at the time were like, okay, that's really weird. And they did not believe in the law of attraction or anything like that. So they were just like, oh God, you're so weird. Like all these butterflies are around you, like what's happening? And it was kind of good that they saw that side as well, because it literally was so freaky. So when I found out that obviously me and him were definitely not going to get back together, it kind of, I was like, well, what the hell are all these butterflies for? Like, what on earth? Like, you know, I've come all this way for disappointment. Like, what has all of this been worth? And it angered me, because I was like, what are these bloody butterflies for? And that was like in September last year, actually August last year, yeah, August. And I saw them on and off, and then I just kind of blocked them out, because I was like, no, this is really annoying me now. Like, why on earth would the universe be sending me butterflies for disappointment? Like, I'm so angry. Like, I was just like, sod you, universe, like, why are you doing this to me? And so I blocked them out, and they eventually, like, I didn't see them like for ages, and plus it was winter, so I probably wouldn't have seen them. But then I started seeing them like in books, on TV, everywhere. Like, I'd still see them, and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm so angry. Like, why am I seeing these? And it wasn't until I went and saw Delano, who I'm going to speak about in another video, who lives in America, and he is a soulmate psychic, that when he was giving me my reading, and this was before like I met anybody, this was back in April, I had this reading, and there was this white butterfly circling him, and I was like, these bloody butterflies, I swear to God. And then Delano was just like, yeah, that's his energy. And I was like, what? Like, what do you mean? And he was like, yeah, that's like your soulmate's energy. Like, he's, you know, letting you know that he's here, that he's on his way, and that he's comforting you, and all of this. And I was just like, what? So it never was anything to do with my ex. It was to do with the future guy. And it kind of baffled me for so long, because I was so certain that it was for my ex, and that, you know, it meant that we were going to get back together, and it literally couldn't have been further from the truth, really. So when you see signs, you have to kind of take it with a pinch of salt. Don't just think, oh, it definitely means me and my ex are getting back together. Just see it as, great, the universe is acknowledging my feelings and my thoughts, and no matter what is meant for me, I will have the best outcome ever. And, you know, it's important to remember, you don't want something that's not meant for you. You want the amazing stuff in life, and you just need to be open to that. So don't focus it on someone, don't focus it, just focus on the feeling of love, of the feeling of, you know, unconditional love, fulfillment, the soulmate, whatever it is, focus on that. Don't focus on a specific person, because yes, I did manifest him. I manifested a lot of interaction and a lot of awkward, horrible encounters, but it wasn't good. None of it felt good. None of it felt right. And it was just not beneficial for me, and just prolonged things so much more than it needed to be. So reflecting back now to how I felt, obviously, in that situation, to how I feel now, I think if you'd have told me a year later that I would be sat here with everything I've achieved in the last year and a half, and obviously in a very, very happy place, in a new relationship, which I'm going to cover in a different video, and being surrounded by people who I absolutely love, who bring such joy into my life, positivity, and just in the best place in my life possible, I probably wouldn't have believed it. I would have been like, but how can that not be with him? And how can it, you know, you never see how it can get better at the time. You never do. And you always think that, like, you never see it at the time, how happy you will be. And like I said, look at it as a 6-month cycle. So in 6 months, none of what you're worrying about ever will matter, and in 12 months time you will be a completely different person. And so much can change in a day. Like, I've had it, so much changes in a day or even a few hours. So that's not to say that your ex won't come back, that's not to say anything, but your happiness is the most important factor in all of this. And, you know, being honest to yourself, being true to yourself, not deluding yourself, and not just prolonging maybe what I did for 4 months. because it just hurts you in the long run. It doesn't get easier, it just hurts you, so you don't want that at all. So my best advice would be to take time for yourself, love yourself, definitely do some self-love. I've got a great video for that on my Law of Attraction playlist, and to just accept yourself for how you are, accept the situation for how it is right now, to just love yourself. And you know, even if you can honestly sit there and say that you did nothing wrong in that situation and it's all someone else or whatever, just take ownership for it. Just say it just wasn't meant to be, and just give yourself time, give yourself some self-love, and it will get easier. It may take weeks, months, maybe even years, but it will get easier, and every day will hurt less and less. So I want to end this video on a positive, and I think all of you guys can tell how happy and positive I am now, a year and however many months later. I think it's like 3-4 months, a year and 3-4 months. So it has been a really long journey for me. It's not been simple, and I don't want to like freak you all out. Like, yeah, you're going to be miserable for a year, like you're not. And I think it probably only took me, obviously I had 4 months of prolonging, but after that it probably took me, I think I was just so angry at that point that it took me only a couple of months to really be happy. And you know, for the last 6 months I have been really, really happy. I've gone on some amazing holidays with my friends. I've got to experience my life finally and learn things and do amazing things in my work. And you know, being with someone doesn't always mean happiness, and that's what I learned out of all of this, that I could make myself happy, fulfilled, and achieve all of my dreams. No man could ever give me that. And what I have now is just an even better extension of my happiness, and I get to share that happiness with someone. And for me, the last year had to be a journey of self-development. I had to find my independence. I had to find me as a person to be able to go into a new relationship. And maybe that will be the same for you, maybe it's not. Some people meet people really quickly, and you know, I always used to curse at those people, like, for God's sake, like, I've been single a year and like they just go and waltz into a new relationship and is all happy and amazing. But everybody's journey is different, everybody has a different path. And you know, I don't personally believe that I did anything wrong in my manifesting, therefore it's taken a year and 3 months. I believe that it was actually just meant to happen at this time, and I've needed the last year to be me and be free and do loads of amazing things, and I wouldn't change a single thing. Looking back, I wouldn't change a thing. I wouldn't even change the 4 months of me prolonging things, because I learned so much about myself, about my situations, about my friend group. My whole life changed for the better, and I really hope that you guys will sit in 6-12 months like after this time in your life and you will be exactly the same. I mean, I'm certain of it. I'm certain you will be sat in the same situation as me, happy and just really, really positive. So remember to be grateful for everything you have in your life. Find the law of attraction if you haven't already. I've got a whole flipping playlist on here, and just remember that everything is working out in your favor and the universe wants you to be happy. So thank you guys for watching my video. I appreciate all your views and likes. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new here, because I would love to see you again soon, and I will see you in my next video, which will be on Tuesday. Lots of love.